So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for tuning in. We saw Nifty today at 25,550 at the intraday low, and it closed at 23,650. We have Arjit Garg, who is a SEBI-registered research analyst, to help us decode the market today. Arjit, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Repradaman. Let's get this show started.
Yes, yes. So please tell us, what do you think about the today's market? 23,650, a big fall. It crossed the major support of 23,850.
Absolutely. As discussed in our last market wrap up, which was, if I'm not wrong, in the last day before yesterday, we discussed two important levels, three, in fact, three important levels for Nifty. On the higher end, we discussed 24,300, which acted as a resistance. And we were very sure that if 24,300 gets broken, then we might see a new high of 25,000 in the upcoming week. But that did not happen. 24,000 acted as a very strong resistance. On the lower side, we had two levels, 24,000 and 23,850. Yesterday's session, we traded exactly in this 150 point range. We opened somewhere around 24,000. We fell down till 23,850, retracted back to 24,000 and closed our session somewhere around 23,850, exactly on our levels. Today, we
Correct.
saw a gap down move. Now, the main reason for this gap down is again the same geopolitical tensions which are happening and which are continuously happening for from last 2 3 weeks now. What really happened is crude oil spiked. All the G7 countries, which were initially, they were deciding on releasing their strategic oil reserves. Well, they're still in process. They're still, they're talking to each other. They're taking consents and they're planning to release it. But they have not really released all of those strategic reserves. On top of it, oil tankers are now being targeted in the Strait of Hormuz, which is making it difficult for even other countries who are not even part of the war. Their tankers are
Mhm.
also being attacked. In fact, a couple of tankers with the Indian flags were attacked. Containers, non-oil tankers were attacked. There are multiple ships that are being targeted now. So going through the Strait of Hormuz is now very difficult, especially even for people who've been doing that for like 20, 25 years. It's very difficult for them. Ships have to turn off their transponders to be able to, successfully transit between that gap. This is creating a supply crisis in many countries. According to news, there's some very important chemicals which is used to cool down GPUs and CPUs. We use it in our computers and desktops regularly. We are
Correct.
seeing a shortage of those chemicals as well, which is the exact reason why Asian market is not able to perform well. We saw around a 20-25% fall in the last week in the Korean market. With that was exactly because of this reason, because Korea is the highest, like they have the highest number of GPU, CPU production, and especially they use these chemicals very widely on a huge range. If they face shortage of these chemicals, now Korea is the one that supplies to the entire globe. If they are facing shortage, global prices might increase, not just for that chemical, but we might also see a huge increase in prices for laptops, GPUs, PCs, even mobile phones. So I believe these are all of the factors which altogether driving markets down. And obviously, we have the crude oil, which is now around 94, $95 per barrel. If we see on MCX, we're constantly trading in the range of 85, 100 to 9,000. So I believe these are some of the factors which are driving our markets in the pressure, and they're driving the markets down.
That's great. That was a very in detail explanation. We touched into all the major points. And in fact, if you look at gold, it crossed $5,100. So can we look at the gold chart as well? And what is your
Yes,
analysis on that?
let's quickly look at gold. So what usually happens in gold is what traders usually think about commodities. If there's a war, they would expect all of these commodities to rise, especially gold. Gold is considered a safe haven. Everybody, whenever there's a war, we saw this during the Russia-Ukraine war, we saw this during the Israel-Hamas war, which was initially the first part of this war. We saw gold prices rushing rapidly. Like there was sudden surge in price of gold. Why was that? Because people usually turn to gold instead of currencies when we talk about war. When suddenly there's a war, the currencies of both the countries involved in the war, the currencies would, like, usually the prices would deteriorate. So they would choose gold to transact, or maybe some other commodities to transact with other countries in order to maybe pay for their ammunitions, pay for soldiers, for other relief stuff. they would just transact in gold and other commodities. So that is why we usually see a huge surge in the price of gold. That did not happen this time. Again, why is that? Because we saw a huge rally already in gold. You can see in the charts here, we saw a rally of up to 1,69,000 rupees per 10 grams of gold. This is MCX future, which we're seeing right now. We see a huge rally already came up. People sold most of their gold at top, and even when the gold prices fell, they're still booking profits. So even right now, people are still in a profit booking mood, I would say. Even traders are avoiding gold and silver right now. What they're most interested is in natural gas and crude. I'm sure most of our viewers have already seen the news around the commodities. The natural gas, if I can just load the chart of natural gas, yes. So we're seeing a natural gas crisis right now in the country. Majority, like major metro cities like Bengaluru, we see Delhi, Mumbai. The restaurants here are running out of commercial natural gas, commercial piped gas, or the LPG shortage which is happening right now. Restaurants are not able to serve. PGs have been ordered to give only 2 meals in a day so that they can meet with their demand. Even domestic, it's expected that domestic gas supply might be affected in the upcoming weeks, which is why we have some press conferences by the petroleum minister shortly today at around 4:35, I believe. So in that press conference, we'll know more details about what exactly is the crisis, what is the government doing to help the citizens and help the economy stay sustained, and the natural gas price to stay in control. So we'll know more details about it shortly after the press conference is over. But for now, we have to focus on natural gas and crude rather than focusing on gold and silver, because we've already seen a profit booking there. So everybody's in a mood of booking profits over there. What I can suggest for investors right now who would like to trade gold, I believe this is a fantastic time for you to add gold, because you see there's a strong consolidation happening right now in gold. You see from the day when the war started, 2nd of March, from that day we are seeing a very nice consolidation. Usually, what happens whenever we see such consolidation, prices usually spike up exactly in a vertical way, just like we saw in crude. So I believe from such consolidation, we can see at least a 10-15% rally. That's minimum in gold from here. So I believe it's a good time for investors to add gold, but traders should stay away from gold and silver. Focus on crude and natural gas. I believe we've got more opportunities in crude and natural gas.
Got it, Arjit. So, yes, yes, please.
Right. So I believe crude and natural gas can really give you good opportunities. Natural gas, if we just quickly look at the chart once again, just like crude, we saw a huge rally in natural gas. And if the crisis still continues, if we see a shortage in the domestic gas supply, we'll see this price rise from 298 to its previous all-time high, and we can even see 350 coming in natural gas in the short term. So I believe all eyes right now are on the press conference which is happening with the Ministry of Petroleum right now.
We'll definitely cover about it tomorrow.
Absolutely. And in fact, we can talk about some sectors as well right now. We can see from
Sure.
this chart, this gives us a good understanding of how the sectors are performing today. So we can see the top gaining sector was chemicals and oil and gas. Again, both the sectors that deal in natural gas and crude oil, as we just talked about, these are the top gaining sectors today. Also, we talked about some good stocks in the previous session. We talked about Glenmark and Reliance Industries. So, if we just quickly load up Glenmark, we can see that our previous levels that we discussed about 2200 was an important level. It got crossed, and we can see a rally up till 2300 in Glenmark. So, I believe we can have a target hit mark on our recommendation from the previous session in Glenmark. So, from now, like from today, after today's session, I believe we can shift away from pharma and healthcare. Maybe if you're a high risk trader, you can have healthcare and pharma in your portfolio right now. But I believe now it's time to move away from all of these trendy sectors. Look out for opportunities where people are not really active right now. One such opportunity is big billion technologies, or we also call as grow. Came up with this IPO a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, if I'm not wrong. So this is a sector, or this is an opportunity which I'm seeing right now in Grow. We can see already inverse head and shoulders pattern is being formed here. If I can just quickly draw a line and I can show you. Yep. Uh, no, I believe drawing a line quite difficult. No problem. We can see an inverse head and shoulders here already. Financials, superb. Technicals, already a bullish reversal. So I believe from here, I believe 158 is the current price. So we can see a rally up till 166 right here. And the second target can be up till 170 in the upcoming weeks. Now this can come maybe in next 1 week or maybe in next 3 4 days. So we just have to mark it in the watch list, mark the levels, wait for the levels to come, and our targets would be hit accordingly in Grow Technologies.
Got it, got it. Arjit, if you have to talk about the main sectors that took the major hit today, what would those be?
Oh, okay. So the sectors that took a major hit was auto. It was down with a loss of 3.19%. Now again, it's like a cascading effect from the crude prices which have been rising. See, let's understand this. If crude prices rise, what is most likely going to happen? If you could just answer me. How would the increase in crude prices affect the other sectors, or maybe what's going to happen next if crude prices, the kacha tel agar महंगा hai, so what will happen next?
Acha, so of course, the petrol, diesel prices will go up.
Correct. Kacha tel, crude oil, is used in petrol. It's used for petroleum jellies that we apply on our face, or maybe on for ointments. Kacha tel is also used for paints. So all of these sectors are going to take a hit. So oil manufacturing companies, like oil marketing companies, companies like OIL, jinka kaam is to take the oil from other countries, store it in our
Mhm.
country, and supply it back to some other country. In companies ko, they won't really matter and they won't really be affected much with the increasing price because they're making money already. They're making from the increased price of is इनका तो profit increase हो गया already. Margins are increasing. For companies like Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, their job is to take the kacha tel, process it, refine it, and then provide it to our consumers. Now, these companies will face a very strong, hard reduction in their profits. Why? Because they already have an upper cap for their petrol and diesel, which is set by the government. Until and unless government would increase the prices, the upper cap of the petrol and diesel, until then, all of these companies, their margins are getting crushed. So it's very bad and it's negative for oil marketing companies, oil manufacturing refineries. It's very bad for them. Now, if petrol and diesel gets expensive, it's very big negative for auto companies. Why? See, all the auto companies, we do not have a lot of EVs in India right now. We are not United States. We are not very big developed countries with majority EVs in the market right now. All of our commercial vehicles, our domestic vehicles, they all run on petrol and diesel. So if there's excuse me, if there increase in petrol and diesel prices, we'll see a huge jump and a huge crisis in the auto sector. So that is exactly why the sentiments have turned negative for auto sector.
Got it, got it, got it. That was a very clear and crisp explanation. You touched on the major sector and explained us what exactly, who exactly makes use of the crude oil as well. So thanks a lot for us. We can close off today's session by mentioning again, one more mistake that retail investors generally make in the market.
Sure. So one mistake in this market, I believe what retail investors can make is, if I would just load up the chart of Nifty 50 right now, we can see we do not have any levels between 23,850 and 23,300. So does that mean 23,800 ही आ जाएगा in the next session? We do not know that. 23,300 आ जाएगा क्या next session में? We don't know that either. So what usually people do in such market where you do not have any confirmation of which side the markets might go, you just enter the trade randomly and you end up gambling. So the lesson here is to learn to look at open interest of the options. If you're trading options, you can look at open interest of futures. If you're trading futures, basically look at the open interest data to understand which direction will the market go. So if I can just take 2 minutes to understand open interest, I can really show this chart over here which explains to all of us which way will the market really go. So I'm not saying you can predict which way the market is going to go, but this chart helps you understand which option can really help you make money in the upcoming trading session. just to make this a little comfortable for the users, because I understand this is very complicated right now. The green color charts, the green color bar here tells you the open interest for all of the call options, and the red one shows you the open interest for put options. So very simple. अगर green color ज़्यादा है, this means call option में OI is more of that respective strike, whatever strike price that is. Green color ज़्यादा है, इसका मतलब call में OI ज़्यादा है. OI का direct मतलब होता है option selling. अगर ऑप्शन सेल हो रहा है, मतलब ऑपोजिट ऑप्शन इज गोइंग टू बाय, इज गोइंग टू गो मोर. सो कॉल ऑप्शन में ओआई ज्यादा है, मतलब कॉल ऑप्शन पीपल आर सेलिंग मोर. सो पुट ऑप्शन प्राइसेस ईदर इट शुड राइज or the overall index or that asset should go down. So just look, by looking at this chart, you can really understand which direction will the market go tomorrow. So we can see here green color बहुत ज़्यादा है, red color उतना ज़्यादा नहीं है. This means call के OI ज़्यादा है, मतलब call को लोगों ने short किया है, मतलब people want the markets to go down. So I believe this was just an overview of how you can read open interest. In the upcoming sessions, we'll discuss this thoroughly so we can make it more comfortable for the users to understand, and maybe we can just make the users learn something new from our life every day.
Definitely, we'll make sure we'll include the OI discussion inside of the video.
Right. So for upcoming session, before we close,
Yeah,
24, 23, 300 is an important level to watch for, not just for tomorrow, but for until expiry, that is to Tuesday on the next week. So for the next 2, 3 sessions, 23, 300 is an important level that we have to see. Until and unless we hit that level on the downside or 23, 800, it should be a no trade zone for you. But even if you decide to trade, just mark the levels and respect them, because that these levels are something which tells you the direction of the market. So yeah, these are the two important levels that we can see on Nifty in the upcoming week.
got it, got it. So today's session was actually honestly very good. So thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you viewers for everyone for joining. We'll again reconnect exactly at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.